I'm in. Hey, it's Chris with Collision Hub. Welcome to Repair University Live. I'm going to multitask today, boys. So I'm going to try to monitor the Facebook page.
Somebody needs to.
Somebody's going to monitor the text-in questions because I think maybe we'll get a few more questions than we normally do today. So here's the deal. All last year, I watched as everything I went to, whether it was whether it was a CIC or whether it was an industry event or a distributor event or whatever, it seemed like, or even the trade magazine, someone was always talking about marketing, and everything they were saying was completely wrong. And unfortunately, people just still kept buying what they were selling, and I think that because the position they were giving as a speaker or as a writer made people go, ooh, they must know what they're talking about. Right. So I got a little tired of it, because I got a little tired of receiving calls from shops that had spent thousands of dollars worth of money and they were getting no results. Right. So the title of this show is No Bullshit Marketing. So what it really takes.
Got a bleep button?
Yeah, I don't have a bleep button.
Okay.
Either on Facebook Live or whatever. So this is going to get interesting. So it's, what it really takes to market a collision repair business. So now we're not talking about if you're 3M. That's a completely different set of marketing rules. Or if you're a huge national MSO, a completely different set of marketing rules. But if you're a small body shop, a single operation, or if you maybe have 1 or 2 stores within a state, what does it really take? And all these people that are coming around telling you that for $199 or $4.99 or for $5.99 they can change your world and make you famous, yeah, it's bullshit. And you should know that because you can't fix a car for that. So we make fun of people that think they can fix a car for cheap stuff, and then we turn around and we do that in our own marketing campaign. So we've asked Tom to join us from Stratosphere Studios. So over my years, 10, 12 years running around working on marketing with companies, Tom has it down to a science, but it's not a cheap science. So I think it's one of the reasons is Tom really doesn't have anything to sell us. I can't afford Tom. Right. So I occasionally just
buy him. But you can
him,
take his wisdom.
See, I buy him dinner and he talks too much. That's what I like about him. That's a good thing. So I can't afford Tom, but I wanted Tom to come in and kind of talk about some of the lies shops are being told, some of the lies we've all heard.
Yeah.
And then
some of the lies I've believed.
Yeah. What it's going to take to make money in 2019. Tom, take us through.
Okay. I'm
going to go multitask. Not doing so hot right now.
Okay, so why even market your shop, right? So it's to make money, right?
I want to make money.
Bring customers in, bring cars in your shop, right? So, therefore marketing should be viewed as an investment. A lot of people look at it as an expense. Oh, I gotta put some marketing dollars out there. And it's an expense if you're not putting it to use. It is an expense.
And I've heard people say, like, what, 10% of sales should be dedicated to marketing, that's part of your expense thing.
Yeah, when you look at it as just an expense and not as an investment, then it is just dollars being thrown out as a
think about the old days. What was the best way to market back 25 years ago? Yellow Pages.
Right.
And you spent all that money on Yellow Pages.
Right. Yeah.
And now, Yellow Pages really aren't part of the game.
Not at all.
But what's part of the game now?
Yeah, internet.
Yeah.
So in order to make those dollars work for you, you need a plan, right? And you also need to be able to measure, your sales. You need to be able to track the tactics that you're using, the visits, the leads, back to your sales using some sort of a framework of some kind, right? So you need to be able to say, I spent this much money, and it got me this much leads, and this is how it got me that. Or if it didn't, how do we fix it or eliminate it, right? Mm-hmm. So
I find it funny. You watch shows like Shark Tank, and they go, what was your acquisition cost per customer?
Right.
And what you're going to talk to us about today is how do you actually put a number on? Right. And how do you, on dollars wise, what does it cost to get a customer?
Right. So we talked a little bit about mistakes that shops make. So we came up with a list of 10. Number one is you have a dumpy old brochure site on your website, or as a website that you haven't even looked at it in years. I see it all the time where people have broken code on there, they don't even know about it, it's just an ineffective. It's the way websites used to be, but not how they're.
Well, a lot of it
now.
Is that you had you had a body shop hire a web development company, and then that web development company comes and sits down and goes, "What would you like on your website?" And you throw everything in the kitchen sink you can, thinking of an old brochure day, and it's one of the worst things that you could ever do.
Right. Try and communicate everything in the first view.
Right. Yeah. Stick it all on the top.
Yeah.
The other problem that people do a lot of times is they'll get some, $290 a month, $500 a month SEO company from overseas somewhere, and they end up doing some quick tactics that Google ends up penalizing you for. So they get themselves in trouble and they don't even realize they're doing it.
Okay, so I'm just a collision repair guy. What is SEO?
Yeah, search engine optimization.
Thank you.
So the things that you do to get yourself ranking online.
Yeah,
right?
and those are the people that
I
tell
like paying
you,
people like you to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what it meant.
Right.
They'll tell you from anywhere from $200 to $500 a month that they're doing whatever they can, that they're going to get you ranked on Google.
Right.
You're going to be top of the page.
Yep.
You're going
Right.
to do all of these things. Yeah, it's all bullshit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I get those emails all the time, and I like to mess with them and say, well,
Yeah.
that seems like a lot of money. I've gotten them down to $75 a month before.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what are you going to get for $75 a month? How
a
much
lot
attention?
a lot of backlinks from Bangladesh.
Yeah,
for people that are never going to buy your product,
Yeah,
but you're backlink to India.
Blog
Good traffic,
posts
though.
Yeah.
From the Far East.
Yes. Another thing that I see a lot of times is that shops will assume that their customer service starts at the reception desk, and that's why their websites suffer. They don't realize that customer service can start from any interaction point, including your website.
Right.
So you need to start dealing with your customers and their needs at the website.
Yeah,
not the
it's not in
reception
your
desk.
4 walls. So that CSI
Right.
score that you're getting or whatever, it's cute, but it has nothing to do with whether you're going to be successful really or not.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And then shops don't treat marketing and sales with the same reverence they hold other KPIs. We worry about cycle time and all these things, but you're not paying attention to, is the money I'm spending, is it going to bring in cars? And are we converting? Are we capturing these leads? Are we converting them into customers?
That's a KPI unto itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be treated as a KPI.
Yeah.
Also, shops will wait too long to do something about their marketing. I get calls all the time. We've got no cars in the shop, come fix that. And you can't fix it overnight.
little late, yeah.
It's a little late. Maybe you run a Google ad, you may get a car or two, but you're not going to fix a sales problem overnight, when it's too late.
Right.
So,
yeah, a lot of shops don't understand where their work is or isn't coming from, and so then they assume when someone magically turns off their faucet, which happens in a lot of shops. You're working along, you think you're doing a great job, maybe you're on a DRPs and you like them and that's great, and then one day that guy shows up and goes, hey, thanks for the last 20 years, but we're turning you off the program.
right.
And you're thinking, God, that's 40% of my business,
Yep.
and now you're panicking. That's not the time to have a marketing strategy to try to get those cars back.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, the insurance companies with their different tiering, let's just say that there's 100 cars to fix, and Tier 1 gets 80 of those cars, but what if there's only 80 cars to fix? Now Tier 1 gets those 80 and there's nothing in Tier 2. Mm-hmm. So things like that happen where it may not be they turn the faucet down a little bit, they might just turn it off, and you're still on the program.
Right. Right.
Well, you have to look at it like your investment portfolio.
Yeah.
You're going to have your ups and downs with the market, and if you have somebody like Tom that's judging over a year how much business you're seeing throughout the month, let's say mid-January to March is a slow time of the year for me at my shop, let's say, and Tom comes up with a diversified type of program to help me advertise differently in those months, or do something different for my business, so that next year I don't have a problem. Can't fix it this year, but he can fix it next year. It's kind of like a bar rescue that you see on TV. The guy comes in sometimes.
Love that show.
It's a great show, but a lot of them fail because he comes in when there's a massive forest fire and he's got a glass of water to put it out. And no matter how much money you throw into the business, it's just got a bad name. And not counting the stupidity of people going back to what they weren't told what to do.
Right.
They go back to the old name and the old ways of doing stuff. Even the guys who stay that route, it's just too late. So you might want to invest now in something like this instead of further down the road. It's kind of like we all invest in some sort of money market fund or retirement fund because we're going to retire one day. We don't want to be 64 going, I got to retire in another year or two. No, I got enough money to survive till tomorrow afternoon. So that's why you need somebody like Tom to help you diversify these types of options and look at those types of things when you have slow times.
Well, and then also, if you look at our industry in the last 60 days, things have changed in the last 60 days.
Oh yeah.
When you take the Caliber-Aber merger, different pieces moving all over
The holidays.
The holidays, all kinds
Lack
of
of
things.
storms in the Northeast.
Yeah, and we
just had one
partial
recently.
government shutdown. I mean, there's lots of things going on that you just can't necessarily plan for. But the only thing constant now is change.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be in trouble when you start thinking about things. So
Yep.
there's that. If you think I mean, we'll talk about it a little later. If you think that you're getting your work through word of mouth, you have a client, you are a fool for a client. You're not getting work through word of mouth. We all like to say that. I've never met a shop in North America that when I ask them, where do you get your work? The #1 thing I don't get back out of them, we have a great reputation and we get our work from word of mouth. You don't. The average collision repair consumer consumes collision repair every 10 to 14 years. You are not getting word of mouth advertising.
If you literally relied on just word of mouth work, you'd have you'd have to be in your own backyard, and you'd have probably like I can go out to dinner one night a week. Money. By the time you were done doing all the work you did in a year, you're like you've got 4 jobs out of it. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. So, go ahead.
So it's a good transition to the next one, which is shops have no way of tracking or measuring what they're spending their dollars on, or if they're tracking the dollars, in a spreadsheet or QuickBooks or whatever, they're not tracking those dollars to say, did that bring in a car, and how much are these cars worth? Is this a good ratio for me, or is there something else I should be doing with that money, right?
Yeah. It's one of those things where we track the repair. We're pretty adamant about tracking the repair and the quality, and then marketing is this magical unicorn where we just go, I threw some money at it.
Threw some money at it.
I'm not sure, but I think it's good because I feel good about it because I've seen my ad somewhere.
I'm still.
Did you get a unicorn in this presentation?
Yeah, I should get one. I should hand them out every time I talk about marketing.
Okay.
The magical unicorn.
And so the next one that I see, and this is even shops that are doing a pretty good job online, is that they don't spend enough care and feeding to their Google My Business page. They'll have reviews that are going unanswered, whether they're good or bad. You need to respond to all of them. And I've even seen shops that have a couple locations where some of the shops aren't even claimed. So when it says on there, do you own this business, and you have a button to click, that means you haven't claimed your page. And so you're kind of at the mercy of whoever puts whatever on there.
Now here's another bullshit moment, Tom. Because if you're one of those people that believe that you've got some sort of reputation management thing going on through your software company, right? There's some great things out there. There's the CarWise, there's Auto Body Review, there's all these things. If you think that form of reviews matters and drives your business, and especially drives your business online, Google your page, your business reviews on Google, all of that is still it's king of the hill, right? Google wants to be #1. If you own your own store, you're going to make your products the #1 thing seen in the store.
Yeah. For a service business, the maps is at the top. When you search for auto body, repair shop, whether it's near me or whatever, you're going to see maps first most of the time, and it's not going to be any of these services. It's Google Maps.
Yeah. I go
Google
into
My
shops
Business.
Well, the other thing is to Google My Business.
Yeah.
Now, if I click that, what's that cost me to claim my business then?
Nothing.
Right. Most people think that's going to cost them money if they click.
Right. You just gotta get control of that page and put the photos you want on there, because your customers can upload photos, and if you haven't claimed the page, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I can tell you how many shops I go to that go, no, I'm okay, Kristen, because CCC is handling my reviews and managing my online reputation. It's cute.
Yeah. So another one is that shops fail to realize just how much internet research their customers are doing prior to purchasing collision repair services, and that's true for whether you're a DRP or non-DRP. I've worked with DRP shops, and we'll show you in a little bit in the presentation how many pages people actually read on websites before they pull the trigger and call you or schedule an appointment. Shops don't track or pay any attention to when their customers access or interact with their website, or when they convert. You assume that during business hours is when people are checking you out, but really the reality is, like I track all my customers' interactions on the website, and I found that 52% of closed sales leads happen nights and weekends.
So half your business is closed business is coming from when not your business hours.
Yeah, when the lights are off.
Yeah.
So that's why the website is so important, and we'll get to some of the nuances there. Shops will fail to market to customers' questions, wants, needs, and emotions. So this is an important one.
But I want to tell you how great my shop is on my phone.
Their needs and emotion, not yours.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, buy shops are unfortunate in that we're selling something that people don't want to buy, right? But now they have to.
Right.
And they are, they're facing financial loss. There may be personal injury involved. They may be at fault for something really bad that happened, and they're having to put order into chaos. So they're coming at you at a moment where, they're not in the best frame of mind. So, if you're not marketing to those those needs and fears and all that stuff, and you're just a big brochure site,
Right.
then you're missing a lot of opportunity.
Right, and you're not marketing to what you feel is important. So
Right.
we have a bad habit of this industry of going, this is really important and the customer needs to know about it. I can tell you how many times I get calls from either associations or people around the country that go, Kristen, you should be using all of your resources to making these videos, educating the customer about steering and whatever. It's like the customer doesn't care.
They don't care.
They don't want to hear that. They're not buying into it. You feel really passionate and strong about that. They don't. So
Well, and it's just like a customer doesn't care about quality. They
In a way, yeah.
They assume it.
Well, the assumption is every shop's going to do the same quality of work. And so I can educate somebody about quality, but I have to put it in the context of their wants, needs, and emotions. And we as collision repairers, we don't do a good job of that. I can't tell you how many websites I go to and it opens up and the first thing I see is, we work for you, not the insurer, or we fight steering, or know your rights, or whatever, and we are attacking that customer with our wants, needs, and emotions, what we feel is very important. And I agree, I don't like half the programs that insurers have out there either.
Well, when a customer, when you can see that on a website, it's, we fight steering, the customer's like, I want steering in my car.
Yeah. I'm going to look forward to that.
Yeah.
You know, another example too is where shops will put the repair process, you know, the blueprinting and all that stuff. But really, you know, you've like you said, you've gone and you've had an accident once every 10 or 14 years, whatever. So you don't really know what's coming at you next. You know, you're going to have insurance companies calling you. They're going to say this stuff's recorded. You know, there's some scary things that are happening. So here's an opportunity to say not only this is what's going to happen to your car, but this is what's going to happen during this process from accident to life back to normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Customer education, and get in mind, you're not closing the whole deal or trying to do everything in the world online. That hand-holding customer education happens when they're in your facility. So
Right.
what I'm doing online is to get them to come see me. Once they're in my building, now I'm going to educate
I have the
them.
opportunity.
Now I'm going to take them through the repair journey. Now I'm going to do all these things that arm them in a way to either they stay or they go or whatever. But I'm not attacking them in the online environment.
But you can start the conversations though online too. You know, let them, like I said, for when you're coming at nights or weekends and you've got questions. This is the opportunity to reach those. So. So, you know, and then we talked about most shops have no system in place for bringing in, following up on, or measuring their sales leads. So they're spending the marketing dollars, and even if it does bring in cars, they're not measuring that. There's no process for capturing those leads, you know, tracking those back to sales, using their estimating systems to say this lead came from this, you know, marketing tactic and so forth. So.
Yeah. So the other thing there is I think shops have to start thinking about your marketing as a lead tool. That's really why you're doing it. We market because we want to get cars in the door. And so everything that I do better track back to a sale, and I got to find a way of doing that. And we don't do good on estimating, right? You ask a lot of shops what your closing ratio for your estimators are. They're like, and some shops know it to the penny. And work on it. And
you should.
Yeah, and this is another thing that if you're not following up, just because someone comes in and says, I heard your radio ad, that's not effective marketing follow-up.
Right.
That's not how you know whether your ad's successful or not.
So the next thing that I want to talk about is, you know, how we kind of live in this Amazon world. So what does a modern body shop website look like, right? So, you know, all these disruptors out there, you've got Uber, you've got Netflix, you've got, you know, even TurboTax, all this stuff. We are in a world where we get our education and we make our purchasing online. We pay bills online. All this transaction is happening online. So let's take that through for a car owner, for example. So car owners, you know, they research that car online. You know, there's all this research about how much people research before they even step foot on a lot. So they've researched the car, they purchased it online. They may have bought their insurance online. They are making their payments online. So, and you know, maybe they've even started their claims process online. So it makes sense that they're going to want to continue the collision repair online, right? So you need to be able to have your website able to kind of move that forward.
To draw them in.
To draw them in.
Yeah, we want to get them to the door. We want to get them inside our building because, you know, Larry talks about it a lot when he's teaching. Once I get you on the grounds, I got you.
Right.
Right. So you're going to stay, and I'm going to fix your car.
But you got to get it there.
I got to get you there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know, your customers are expecting these same kind of online conveniences, and then, you know, there's a psychology behind why we buy. It's called, you know, behavioral economics. There's actually scientists that study the brain science of how we buy, and you know, even positioning how you say things online. You know, your own, just taking the same phrase and wording it differently makes a difference between somebody buying or selling or believing what you're saying or not. You know,
and that's a key factor. I think that's one of those things. You have behavioral economics or economists or whatever on your company that help do all this stuff.
And I've taught them about the collision repair business, and we've studied all that stuff.
So that's really interesting. I think a lot of what I hear when I hear the experts and the consultants and everybody running around the business is that someone just feels, because they've been a part of this industry, they think they know what works. Now they think what they've known what works since the 80s and try to apply that knowledge to a digital world, and then think that they have a marketing strategy that's successful.
Right.
Well, I've been in the collision repair business for 30 years. I know what it takes to sell collision repair. I'm a marketing expert.
No, you drop off donuts.
Right, or cookies to agents or whatever,
yeah.
Or you're going to make a Facebook post about your latest recipe for a pie or something just absolutely silly.
Right.
And the bottom line is the science doesn't support it. So just like we preach, I don't care what I think or I've thought I've known for the last 30 years when it comes to repairing a car, I'm going to go to the manual and I'm going to let the OE, the expert, the scientist, the engineer tell me how to fix a car. Mm-hmm. When you're thinking about marketing, it better have some science behind it. It better have some real hardcore numbers and not just be because somebody feels that they've read a story. I remember meeting with one guy one time who was an expert in the industry on marketing. And I was like, okay, well, you know, 2 years ago you were doing X in the industry. You don't have a marketing degree. You're not formally trained in our work. So what makes you think that you're a marketing expert? Well, I sat down on Amazon and I ordered every book I could find on social media. Mm-hmm. And there was like 27 of them and I've read them all. Oh, goody. So, so if you think about, if we went on Amazon and ordered books on collision repair, could we fix cars today? Well, no. So that doesn't, you know, it doesn't translate.
Some people do.
Well, there's the Tesla guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay. Don't order your repair manuals on Amazon.
Right.
Check. Got it.
Yeah, so we talked also about you know, Google and you know, local shops. So Google actually will favor local shops. There was a algorithm update that they call the Your Money, Your Life. So things that involve financial decisions or services that are, you know, health related, they'll actually favor and rank. They're looking, Google's, you know, looking to boost local authoritative websites or companies. So, you know, this works in your favor if you become the educator to your customers.
Especially in a world where we have single shops that are competing against national MSOs.
Right.
Google wants you to win, and that's, they always say.
On
If I
a
go back to
local level.
Panda and Penguin and all the other updates that they ever did, it was always to drive original content creators, local businesses to the top of the food chain. They want to serve that up.
Yeah, you're actually having an advantage as a local guy to the bigger consolidators. You know, so. You know, so we talked a lot too about, you know, there's a lot of marketing tactic noise. There's a lot of things that are competing for your dollars or your attention. You know, there's paid search, there's social media marketing, print, TV, radio, Google, Yelp reviews. There's, you know, search engine optimization companies that are, you know, trying to sell you cheap services. There's, you know, people that are selling you websites that don't know anything about collision repair.
Right.
So
you'll get one guy that comes to your shop that tells you he'll build you a website for $3,500, and the next guy comes in and tells you it's going to be 50 grand.
Yeah, you need a website, you need a website. Everybody says you need a website. You can, you know, sometimes you can take what you have and just tweak it, you know, like what the behavioral economist helps us
I think
do,
I probably get about 5 emails a week on people trying to sell me a website.
Right.
Yeah.
I just do.
Well, I mean, if you pick up every trade magazine in our industry, everybody right now is running a story or something on marketing, and there's just a lot of noise. If you're a shop, you're sitting back there going, okay, this guy said I need to do this, and this guy said I need to do that, and then I had another guy told me that I just needed to pay for AdWords, Google AdWords, and I'd rank higher, and so it's everybody is nickel and diming you, and you kind of don't know what to do or who to trust. And a lot of shops have made bad decisions, and they look up a year later and they've spent thousands of dollars, and they can't show a single bit of improvement for it.
Right.
Nope.
At all.
And I'm not saying those tactics don't work, right? It's just you have to measure it. You know, try it, but you have to be able to measure it and say whether it works or not. Just spending the money and seeing cars in your shop and not connecting the dots, you know, you have no way of knowing that actually drove that car to your shop. So, you know, the gurus have their set of tactics, their business model set around, and they'll push those tactics on you.
Well, tactics are easy because I can plug anybody in and they just keep repeating the same formula.
I can invoice for it too.
Yeah, and
then
I can send you an invoice and I can charge you for it. But it's kind of like you just have to be just really, I mean, think about it. How well can I market your business for $500 or less a month.
Right.
What are you really going to get?
What are you getting? Yeah.
Well, you know, not to pick on my Maaco guys, but if we thought about how do you paint a car for $4.99 or $3.99, and we kind of pick on them and go, there's no way, whatever. Okay,
But they do.
That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I mean, if you want that in marketing and advertising, that's awesome, and you're not going to get a great job, and you're not going to get great results, and you're going to be taught this, you know, the blog that goes on your page or your Facebook page is the one that goes on every other clients they have that week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a spray model. But the other thing too is that, you know, if you're spending 150, 199, you're getting, it's offshored. And what do those people know about collision repair in America? You know,
Nothing.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of these places that, you know, may not even have cars on the streets, right? But they're going to write blog posts on your behalf, you know, about how to fix your car in America. So, you know, that's what you get with those kind of prices.
Yep.
So, you know, ask yourself, what do your customers need? What do they need in order to become a customer of yours? What are they searching for? What are they dealing with? And you know, you address that.
Right.
So,
what I like to say here, Tom, is that when I get these questions from shops, what do I do, Kristen? And we talk about, okay, let's just start over and stop everything you're doing, because it's like one of those stop-start drills or whatever. What do you want to do? And I want to make money. Great, that's your overarching principle. We're here to make money, and everything we do drives dollars. Great. What do your customers need to get you to make money? So not, you know, my customers need, I think my customers want to know what the weather and the traffic is in town or whatever. What do they need in reference to you making money?
Right.
So, and we got a question that comes in, and again, we talked about this. What is a rule of thumb for % of sales that a shop should spend on marketing? It doesn't exist. So that's that question when we start thinking about marketing as an expense versus as an investment. So I can't say that we're going to take 10% of sales. You hear this one all the time. 10% of sales should be marketing and advertising.
Yeah, where did that come from? I don't even know where
Well,
that
it's a sales gimmick.
Yeah.
That's
People that sell advertising.
You know, the problem is, it's like anything else. There's very few experts in the collision repair industry that are technical. There's very few experts on marketing that are in the industry. And the other ones have read these marketing books and use these little sales gimmicks of, well, this is how much percentage. I'm sure if you look up one of these marketing books from Amazon, I'm sure there's going to be a percentage chart.
Yeah.
Well, if you make $1 million a year, you need to spend $15,000, you know, a year, or $15,000 a quarter on advertising, whatever the case, and that's not the truth.
Yeah.
It's not. It's another one of these softball pitches that you get that just to get you enticed. Oh, I'm going to let you get a hit.
Right.
You know,
Well,
I'll let you get to
there's a
first
couple
base.
things.
Now
One,
I get you at first base. Now I want you to play more.
It's in a lot of, you know, I have a marketing degree. It's in textbooks, right?
Right.
So when I went to school, that was what they would tell you. And the reason that's there is it's budgetary. So every year as the marketing department, when I was at corporate, I had to go in and fight for budget, right? And so you figure 10% of gross, we're going to allocate down, and that's how I'm fighting for budget. And then now that I have my budget, in that I will decide where that marketing dollar goes, and some of it's going to support community events, and we may buy a baseball stadium or a football stadium out of it or whatever. But that's how you're divvying up those dollars.
Yeah.
When it comes to small business and a niche business like collision repair, that's all out the window. There's a lot that a shop can do that costs you nothing if you're willing to do the labor yourself.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff that you can do that'll cost you a little, or you know, if things are going well or you really want to make the investment, you hire somebody like Tom. We've had some shops on the East Coast that have, hired some people that are really like, hey, no bullshit, this is what it's going to take, and we're just going to do this, and they turn around and they go, oh my God, I invested, $3,000 a month, and I've got $100,000 in return.
That's
I remember years ago, before the internet, one of my old bosses, he hired a guy that was a sales guy, and just went out and sold to dealerships and agents and bigger businesses on stuff. And he did the whole thing of, putting it on the shopping carts at certain supermarkets and then saying, well, we didn't get anything from that, so we're going to stop that contract and go to a different one. And that's what this sales guy would do. Well, now you have it a little bit easier. You got a guy like you that can come in and do be a sales guy, but on the internet, and you're getting right directly to the customer. You don't have to go to other businesses and make certain deals. So that's what they don't realize.
What you should be spending determines where you at now. So I mean, you almost kind of got to look at your business and level set. Where are we? Where do we want to go? How fast do we need to get there? So occasionally I have a shop that calls me and says, we're doing great, Kristen. Life is good, profit's good, I'm happy. I know I need to be thinking about my marketing, and I'm going to go there. And so that is a slower ramp up, and occasionally I get a call from a shop that says, hey, X and X insurance company just came in, turned us off, they were 40% of my business. Okay, we got a whole different ramp up, you're going to spend more money. So based on where you are right now, what your goals are, and the way that you need to get there will determine how much money you're going to spend on advertising.
Yeah, it also depends on what your shop needs, and you have to kind of look at what your competitors are doing, and what your market is, how big your market is. So it's hard to say just as a percentage. It's really, you have to kind of do on a case-by-case assessment. That's what we do.
Yep, and we got a question coming in about what are some of the things that a shop can do that cost $0 to do that. We're going to get to that as you go through, and we'll add some of those things that you can do. So,
okay.
So with that question, we can see where some people are thinking.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any money, but I need some marketing.
Nope, and I have a whole series of videos where here's the free stuff you can do. So
yeah, you got to start someplace, and once you start there, but there's only so much free stuff's going to do for you before you have to pay a little, and even paying a little, you realize, ooh, I want more. Well, now you got to pay a little bit more, and that's on the way it snowballs. You get involved in it for a while. You're doing it for 4 or 5 years. Tom could easily look at my plan that I did free, I did little, I did a little bit more, I did a little bit more. Now Tom can look at me and go, okay, I think you need to spend this much this year on this. This is what we can do, and then you work with it. It's a plan. So
it's just an investment.
Yeah, you got to do it.
All right. So what do your customers need?
Yeah, so good marketing is developing a keen sense of what your customers are dealing with and marketing to those questions, fears, needs, and desires, right? So how do we do that? So there's a couple of little tweaks that I threw up here for some website must-haves. Have your phone number at the top of every page, call to action on every page, whether it's a schedule an appointment button. We can talk about the get an online quote if you want.
So right now what we're saying is everybody that has a website probably should go to their website right after this show and look for those three things right now.
Yeah, take a look and see. From every single page, because another thing that people make a mistake is thinking that their home page is the front door to the shop, right? But got all these garage doors. There are different ways, and every page on your website is a door in your shop.
An entryway, right?
It's an entryway, right? So make sure that every one of those pages, if they were to only view that one page, can they transact business with you? Could they call you from that page, or could they schedule an appointment or move the needle forward if the shop was closed at that point, right?
Well, isn't there a whole feng shui look at websites and even business cards on where you put your phone number, where you put your logo, how big you make your name or your email address? I mean, there's a pattern to it. You were showing us yesterday, Mark and I, when we were looking at different websites and what catches your eye first and what you look at first. And I guess if I tried showing you how I look at a damage to a car when I'm doing a damage report and how I'm going to analyze it, might have been as interesting for you as you probably a little bored showing us, look what catches your eye. And they're like, well, I never looked at it that way before because, I looked at it straight on like anybody else looks at a website. But then when he started to show me what pops out on this website versus the other, it's like, hey, wait a second, you're right. Subconsciously or subliminally, I'm drawn to this particular spot. Oh, I see, and it makes me want to do this. Or I click on these little small icons at the top, these tabs, and they drop down. Oh, that name or that terminology sounds like, oh, I want to read that, and you click on it. And he really kind of showed us how you catch the customer's eye by having this pattern set up the same way on each page.
Yeah, like that, and that's some of the stuff that I got from working with our behavioral economist is that we process a percentage of information from a rational brain, but our subconscious brain is really doing all the decision making. It's making all these connections that you're not even aware of, and so positioning things on the website, where things go, what attention you draw to things are important, and that's where
and those are some of those kind of free, no cost things. So if you happen to have your websites through a Google or a GoDaddy or whatever, or your WordPress site, and you're kind of self-managing, those are easy cleanups.
Yeah.
We have a big problem in this industry that we make the website way too busy. We put things that are important to us
everything in the when you first land on the homepage.
So I can clean that up. I can put the call to actions on there. I can remember that you may come into my website on page 5, and so is page 5 actionable? Can I do some things with it? I tell people you don't need a $50,000 website to do this right. But each one of
5 to 8 pages, you can kind of tell the story, right? Or get it started anyway.
Don't overwhelm them with things that they don't really care about. I go to some websites and they're 40-something pages and 39 of them are irrelevant information to consumer. So,
just put the stuff that's important easily, where you can easily find it or access it. So that's why the next one is, your blog page. A lot of times we do a lot of blogging for shops, and a shop owner will say to me, well, why do I need a blog? Because they think of it as like a lifestyle blog, where you're just putting stuff out, putting content in there, and their agency has sold them and they need a blog because they're just putting, how to keep your dog safe in a hot car, and driving tips and things like that. Yeah. But really, your blog
or
is.
You're in Florida and you get a winter driving tip blog.
Yeah, winter driving tip, all that kind of stuff. But
you got to remember, in collision repair, people aren't visiting collision repair websites
to learn how to drive.
To learn how to drive.
Right.
They're visiting your site when they've had an accident.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. So driving tips will never bring in a customer to your website, but we use the blog as kind of like a Wikipedia. So here's where all the stuff that you want to tell a customer. And that's where the long tail keyword searches come in. So if you think about your blog as a Wikipedia, you may even call it a wiki, car repair wiki. Well, what every customer needs to know, whatever you want to call it, but that's where all that stuff goes, and it's in the form of a blog page, which is really just another web page.
Yeah, so here's what blogging is really kind of about. It is your SEO in a way. So websites should be evergreen, they should be ever changing. Having a calendar or something that feeds in, like so I've heard a lot of website companies will tell you, oh no, we're going to put your Twitter account on your page, and because your Twitter is going to update every day, that Google's going to see that your website's updating. No, that's more bullshit.
Yeah.
So you've got to have evergreen content on there. Now, here's where the cool thing about a blog comes in, and this is another thing that you can do for free. You're just going to have to spend some time learning how to do it and write it. First of all, being a certified OE collision center does not mean that magically cars are going to show up at your door. You are not part of Honda or Ford or General Motors marketing plan. If you think that's how it works, you're one of the people that have sat back at the end of the year and going, why did I spend that $2,500? I'm not getting any cars out of it. How you position and sell that, and you do that in a blog. So having the I'm a Honda Pro First logo on your website doesn't make the customer feel comfortable about doing business with you. Now, you write a blog that talks about repairing Hondas and maybe even mentions the particular section of town you're located in, like repairing Hondas in South Philly or repairing Hondas in Little Rock, Arkansas. That becomes keywording. That goes to Google. Google indexes that. Google knows where you are by your IP address. So when I start searching for collision repair for Honda, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to pop up on the Honda website, and they're going to go in there and use the locator, and they're going to find that I'm a certified shop in town. No, it's not how that works.
Right.
And if we think about it, let's go back and remember when the paint companies had shop locators, and they saw, hey, you're going to be on our shop locator. How many hits did you get? I love my PPG team, but I didn't get any visits because I was a PPG shop or whatever. Yeah. So it's a fantastic piece of technology.
Nice that you're out there.
But that's what your blog does for you.
Yeah. Right.
So when a shop says, why do I blog? I'm like, why wouldn't you blog, right? That's your chance to sell who you are to the customer.
Yeah, so I jumped ahead here to how do you do it? So, there's a philosophy. They ask, you answer. So what does that mean? Your customers are Googling these questions. They have a car repair issue, and it could be specific to your make and model even. It could be specific to your area, pricing, cost, all that stuff. So that's how you write the content that you answer the questions that your customers are asking, but they're searching for online. So what are some of those things? There's costs. How much is it going to be to do this? There's problems with, problems with this, problems with that. It can even be collision repair problems with picking the wrong shop, that kind of stuff. Laws, rules, regulations. They've got a piece of information. Now they've got to, figure out what to do next. They don't have anybody to ask. They're searching online. Versus and comparisons. Here's an opportunity where you can actually compare your shop to the guy down the street that you're always in front of that customer, always saying, "Don't go to that guy because he does this, this, and this." Write a blog post about that. Vehicle specific.
Not a video. That's not YouTube video material or Facebook Live video material right there. Yeah.
I mean, but there's a way to do it, right? So there's a way to do it and not get you in trouble.
Exactly.
And the way you do it is you present information straight off their page that they're putting out there, and then you say, well, here's how we do it differently, right? Yep. And so you're not slandering the guy. You just say, this is what he does. This is on his website. This is how we do it differently.
Yeah.
If you ask some of these owners about freebie stuff, like we're talking about, and even answering some of these, how much time do they waste on Facebook groups with other collision repairers?
How much did you personally?
No, not me. I got a paycheck from Facebook. How much time they actually waste on Facebook, arguing, posting, complaining on Facebook
Yep.
with people in the industry that's not going to make them any money. Maybe it blows off a little bit of steam playing keyboard arguing and stuff like that, or having some fun just trolling and, you know, doing the fun making and a little bit of learning. If you took that time and actually blogged
About the same thing.
about the same thing,
Right.
and then sent it to somebody like Tom, let's say, to clean it up, put the, you know, I guess, you know, review it and make sure it sounds proper. It's not
Yeah.
one complete run-on sentence like we get sometimes.
Yeah.
The misspelled words that, you know, then we get the spell Nazis on there all the time that
I
want to
can't
hammer
spell,
you.
and I don't know grammar, so y'all stop making fun of me.
You know, we're doing voice text and it's not picking up everything. So he'll clean it up and then put it on a blog.
Yep.
And, you know, you would see more
It
return of your
drives- it
investment
drives
for
traffic.
free
Yep.
versus you spending all that time on Facebook. You want to do that when you get home at night and you're ready to go to bed. Hey, then go ahead and, you know, play on Facebook before you pass out.
Right.
But we're
You know.
okay that you're on there playing, because it's usually me and Larry that are playing back with you. So,
Yeah.
A question coming in: what's the overall most bang for your buck in advertising? My top 2 picks.
Oh.
I'm website and social media.
I think a blimp and Valley Stadium.
Yeah.
You're still trying to get us to buy Yankee Stadium.
Why not?
I know. It's
Collision
not
Hub Yankee
happening.
Stadium.
I know, it would be a dream come true.
And the
Then we want a blimp.
Goodyear
Yeah.
Repair University blimp.
Yep.
I'm just wondering if I can buy, like, you know, if State Farm bought the Atlanta Falcons Stadium in Atlanta, what's the stadium next to it, and can I buy it? Because I think that would be.
Well, I mean, you know, what about sponsoring a golf tournament?
Yeah.
You know, like the PGA tournament or something like that. Just
You don't
sponsor.
golf.
I don't. I'm horrible. No, my golf score should be my bowling score. My bowling score should be my golf score. And I'd be able to beat Tiger Woods. Yeah, a blind, crippled, in a wheelchair Tiger Woods with a shovel could beat me at golf.
Exactly.
That's how
Yeah,
bad I am.
exactly. So those are my top 2 picks, Tom.
Right. Because
What are they? I mean, over all your experience, what would be like your 2, you know, just if I had to pick, I had to give you an answer, no research involved whatsoever, bang for your buck, 2 best picks.
And the beauty of it is you can do a lot of it yourself, is what
Yep.
we just said. Your website and social media, doing exactly what you said. Taking those issues as they come into the shop and turn them into posts that are searchable. So put that into a question format, you know. And then, you know, because if you're looking at this shop, they've got 3 pages that are really dated, or you got this shop that's continually writing about what's going on in the industry, what consumers need to know about car repair, down to the specific make and model. Which shop are you going to use? You're going to use the one that is telling you you need to know this stuff, car owner, because otherwise you're going to get burned.
And Goodwill's going to drive you to that anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's green content.
Yeah, and the thing about social media for me is, you know, I love social media. Most of my business lives and dies on social media, so it's kind of been my baby for 10 years. The consumer for a body shop isn't going to follow you for 10, 12, 15 years. They're really only interested in that short amount of time that they're transacting with you. And when they want to have a question or a concern, or they're trying to learn about you, that's where they go during that short amount of time. So it's not like somebody likes your Facebook page and you keep them there for 3 or 4 years. That's just not happening. You have a fan base because once they don't fall off the page in a way, but your actions of whose impressions and who's seeing your stuff. So when you're driving content to Instagram or Facebook or, you know, Twitter or wherever you're driving it to, it needs to make sure that that content is relevant for a consumer in the time of need.
Who's in market, right?
Who's in market.
They're in market.
Right.
What are they dealing with right now? Because they don't remember 10 years ago what they had to do to get
Right.
through this,
Now, some of that
or what
is-
they didn't know.
Some of that is what's going on in the industry or how to fix a car, right? But
Yeah.
some of it is getting to know you. I want to know what kind of person you are, so you know I want to see
Yeah.
that you're doing things. I don't care that you have the latest recipe for chili. I don't
Yeah.
care that you've got USA Today's top 10 driving picks or any
Yeah.
of that stuff. You need to sell me. Give
What
me
is somebody who's been in a car accident that's looking for car repair? What are they looking for online? What are they asking online? You know, and
they're
then
not
and then
asking
answer
for,
it.
Yeah, they're not asking for you to tell them all about how horrible our industry is or how we fight over all this other stuff.
That's another thing too.
don't
You need to put it into terms that a customer can understand.
Right.
Some photos, you know, just kind of answer that question. But even having just the blog with the title on it alone is already going to put you ahead of your competitor. You know, so.
Do you think it's worth it to have a local marketing company handle your website and SEO? It would depend on that company.
It depends on the company. How competent are they, really? You know.
But where are you located?
I'm in Maryland.
You're in Maryland. So if I was in Maryland, you'd be local.
Right.
But we're in New York, so you're not local.
Yeah.
you know, you're right.
Full disclosure, Tom handles Mid-Island Collision, so
Yeah.
that's
In
a
New York.
recent new thing.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, but I mean, look at it that way. Yes, there's probably a ton of marketing companies that could specialize in collision repair and not in New York City.
Yeah.
And you know,
well, for example, here in Arkansas,
Mid-Island pick Tom.
If I had to pick the state of Arkansas, there's not a single agency in the state of Arkansas that could do a collision repair shop. They couldn't do the SEO, they couldn't do the website management, they couldn't do it. They'll tell you they can, and they're going to come at you with a lot of fake reports, and it's learning how to wade through the tactics versus the reality of what's delivered. But we don't have one here. Now, there could be another state that is a company I'm not aware of, and they could have all the right answers and they could do a good job, but it's the interviewing process to pick them.
Yeah.
Is
get
the
that guy,
diligence.
She's got that guy in that state that we saw last night that will put your advertisement in the video game to the point that you don't want to ever use that company again. Almost, I'm going to call that plumber today and I'm going to tell him, listen, I'm never using your company. You interrupted my game 48 times last night. I'm so sick of your company. Can't stand it. And the gym, too. We're not going to the gym. Forget about them. And the other two.
Are you going to kick a football?
And we're going to kick a football to get a bank loan. I don't understand that at all. And
you see how much fun we had last night.
And the husband and wife that look like they are really posing and weren't happy being together, that I'm going to go and borrow money off of them. I'd rather borrow it off Nunzi on the corner over there at 3 points a week than to go borrow it off those two. It was just horrible advertising.
Yeah.
You know, it really was. It was very, maybe if it only flashed once, it may not have been so bad, but it was just 4 or 5 times it would flash, and it really was annoying. You know, that's not what you want to do.
Let's go back to the question.
Yeah, I want to answer that question.
So local advertising, you know, somebody being local, in this day and age, it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. So
you can handle anybody in the United States, right?
Yeah. Our clients are all over the place.
Right.
So, but I want to answer that question though. So, can a local SEO company fix your problem? They could probably fix a local ranking problem. They probably could, but what we're talking about is taking it at the next step, which is fixing a sales problem. So yes, they could probably get you ranking,
right?
And that may be an issue, and then maybe a step in you know,
right. And that's
the
an
process.
important thing, because when I talk to these SEO companies or I talk to shops that have hired them, that the entire pitch was, we're going to get you ranked on page 1.
Right.
Or we're going to be right under the Google paid promotion. We're going to list you 2, and that's incredible. Ranking doesn't mean you're going to convert that to a lead or a sale or close a deal or whatever.
Right. That's the difference. We only do collision repair. You know, we do it for RV and automotive, but we only deal with collision repair. I'm not dealing with any other kind of.
So you don't do doctors and lawyers.
I don't do doctors. I don't do lawyers.
You deal
only
with
collision repair.
Collision repair, so you have a little bit more in tune with what works for an MSO, what works for a single location DRP, what works for an independent
Here's
by
the thing
himself.
for me. At the end of the day, it's no bullshit. I don't care about where you rank. I honestly don't. And that's why I enjoy talking to Tom. He's like, I don't care where you rank. I don't really care where you're going to pop up on the page search or where you're going to do any of that. I care about how many leads the shop's going to get and how many of those leads transfer into closed sales. At the end of the day, the rest of it's all window dressing and crap, because it doesn't make me any money, and I want to make money.
But if you do this, you're going to rank.
Sure,
you know,
it's a reverse of the two.
Yeah,
but unfortunately,
you can even rank within your state or even nationally for some of these posts.
Yeah.
You know, I have posts that I've written where it pops up, you know, #1 nationally, just for, you know, you can try it in different states and ask the same question online, and you're going to find a post that.
Like,
So the difference is that the ranking is an outcome of your process, not I'm going to rank and then I'm hoping for a process.
Yeah, because I got a lot of shops that are #2, #3 on Google, and then they're like, I don't have any work and I'm going broke. Okay, well then clearly that didn't work, did it?
It didn't.
So
yeah, you could, like you said, the chili recipe. You could rank for chili recipes if you really worked hard at it, but it's not going to bring you a collision repair customer.
If you're not going to buy my chili
into your town, you know. So yeah,
I'm selling chili.
Well, you know, it's like that movie we talk about all the time, Glengarry Glen Ross, about closing. You know, you grab the portion before that. When Alec Baldwin's talking, and you know, he talks about the leads. You know, you're going to get the top leads.
Right.
If you sell the most, you get the top leads. That means they've already been pre-qualified. These people are buying. You're going to walk in and basically go, "Hey, just sign the contract. You're not going to have to sell." Right. Versus the guy who's not selling so well.
Can I get to that phase?
Yeah,
you know,
just sign here.
You know, to the guy who's not, and that's what Tom. You know, that's what Tom's doing, is giving you these leads
so that I can afford Tom
and finishing it out. You know, finishing it out beforehand, and that's what a lot of shops don't realize. They want, I want to be #1 ranked. I want to be able to Google, you know, Audi collision repair, and boom, my name's first right underneath Audi. You know, Audi's name and stuff like that. And you know, no, that you're not getting that, like Kristen said. You're getting the leads that people are coming in, and then you'll get.
They're an educated customer at that point, right?
Yeah. So another question coming through, and we'll keep moving along. How will the future of marketing change if DRPs go by the wayside? Will advertising budget have to go up even more?
Well, this is actually great question.
Did you write that question?
Yeah, I know, right?
Wait, come here, wait. He's salivating a little bit. Hang on, let me. He's looking at his chops. He's like, great.
Yeah. If DRPs go away, every shop in America is going to be scrambling to do exactly this. So if you're ahead of that curve, if you're doing this now and you've built a backlog of all this great content and you have the sales process down, you have the lead generation, you're tracking everything, you've dialed it in, and DRPs go away, it's going to be the greatest day of your life. I mean, they're going to Google auto body repair, and who's going to be right there? It's going to be your shop.
But if DRPs go away and you heavily relied on them, and then you want to call Tom the second they stop, you're out of business.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to be able to fix it right then and there. Because the guy in the neighborhood, you know, if I was the heavily DRP'd shop and Mark's in my neighborhood and Mark didn't do any DRPs really, and he had Tom in his board already, he's getting his leads, and I go, oh crap, let me grab that guy Tom. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And now he's flourishing because now he's going to get all the work and I got nothing now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you got to plan for the future.
The part of the problem with this industry is that we complain about a lot of things and then we hope and pray that they don't ever go away.
Right.
So we believe that DRP is somewhat evil, but a lot of us cling to it because we think that's where our work comes from. How many times do you hear "don't bite the hand that feeds you" or whatever? We complain about some of the cost and the certification programs the OEs are offering, but then we've convinced ourselves that they're our next savior, that's what's going to drive work to me. So we're all sitting around thinking that someone else outside of our business has to send work to us. And we know through the research that's not how consumers are choosing to do business with us. We think it is. We believe that we get the work because we're on the DRP. We believe that we get the work because the OE's sending it to us. And in reality, when we break it down, the customer chose you, own it, and put some time in it, and they'll continue to choose you.
I mean, you get a DRP lead, you still have to sell them, right?
Yep.
So, and there's no guarantee that that DRP lead is going to become a car at your shop. But if you're doing this, if you're educating your customer.
Well, there's a lot of shops that believe that that's a completely default process. So the customer chose them because the insurer happened to mention their name, or word of mouth advertising. We've been in business for so many years. That default customer who may transact with your business because they don't want to make a decision. I mean, we know decision theory and all that, how it works. Isn't the customer that's sustainable in today's industry. So as the car ramps up in technology, as we continue to have discussions around what it is or isn't going to take to fix the car and who is or isn't going to pay for it, I mean, I have no problem at some day an insurance policy may say we don't pay for these things, and that's completely great because that's a contract.
That's what you buy.
And the contract doesn't have to pay for everything. But I, as a repairer, may have to say this is what it's going to take to fix your car. As
no different than medical coverage.
Yeah, as that consumer changes, that default consumer is not going to be one you want. So you're going to be searching for a completely different engaged level of consumer because you're going to have to learn how to make more money on less cars. And so that's going to change as the DRP model changes.
To be honest on it, you know, being involved years ago with a couple of shops with DRP and then eventually consulting for some shops that are DRPs and being involved with 2 shops for the last 25 years that have been on OEM programs, you know, specifically Audi and Benz. We've seen a lot of growth with the Audi and Benz program being certified through there. And yeah, you do get some leads from customers looking up the certified collision repair and their information, but it's an educated consumer.
Yep.
They start looking. I mean, one of my best friends that I'm constantly out with, before I became very good friends with him, he found Mid-Island by looking up Porsche certified shops, and at a Porsche they needed to fix cash. They bought the car back after it was totaled. It was a GT2. And it came to the shop, and he stayed in the shop, like, what are you doing here? And I remember James was there with me, and we were talking to the guy and stuff like that. It's like, oh, wow. And we just, from there, it blossomed. But how do you find the shop? And I asked him, how'd you find it? You didn't know we worked here, so what's up? And he goes, oh, you know, I Googled, you know, Porsche, you know, collision repair, and you guys popped up. And you got to remember, this is like 7 years ago when these Google catchphrases weren't as important. And, you know, it built we've noticed a more educated consumer from the higher end or, you know, luxury type vehicles that have been really very interesting compared to what I saw with, I remember sitting in a shop doing what was it, the form that comes in that you got to call up the customer and get them in to do a DRP thing, and you'd write the estimate, and try and sell them on it, and they drive away. They wanted to keep the check or go someplace else and stuff like that. So it's not a guarantee that they're sending you leads. you still have to close them, and the person still has to want it, and not want to keep the check and not maybe fix their car.
Right.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of process.
You know, these models may stay for a while. You know, we may continue to have DRP. We're going to come in and have this OE thing, and whether the OE competes at FNOL or how that happens, now the OEs are kind of like, oh, there's some legality at FNOL, and they're like, yeah, welcome to the party. Yeah. So the insurers are sitting back laughing at them right now. You thought this was going to be easy, didn't you? But you know, as that top of the surface continues to kind of maybe stay somewhat stagnant for the next 3 to 5 years, the consumer and the repair is evolving underneath it. So the time to start thinking about a really detailed marketing strategy is now, when it's not an emergency situation. Like
well, it was actually 3 years ago, but okay, start now. You know, if you have it already.
And don't believe that something's going to send you work. Don't believe if I join some sort of group, they're going to send me work. Don't believe that if you're on a DRP, it's going to send you work. And don't believe that if you're OE certified, that's going to send you work. There's still work that you have to do. Because, I mean, we talk about this all the time, Tom. Every shop in town, when I ask you what makes you different, we do great work and we have great people and we have
great
great
customer
equipment.
service.
And we have great customer service.
You know what, that's great if you're in like a small little town, population 2,000, and you're
I
the only
hear that.
shop in town. Yes.
The only shop in town.
I hear that in small town USA, Chicago, New York, or whatever. I've never been to a shop anywhere in North America that gives me a different spill. So if you all really are in theory the same, and you all think you're the same, then what's differentiating you in the marketplace?
The consumer doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Cooter in Hauser County, you were mint because you're the only repair shop in town. And the Duke boys were constantly bringing their car in for repairs.
But they never paid.
They never paid. No, moonshine. They paid in shine. So you had a drunk working on your car.
Yeah. All right, Tom. Take us through this because you got some stuff for us.
Okay, so trying to think where now it's
Where was I? Right.
where were we?
So
Come and buying costs.
So
the last one you were
so
down to.
vehicle-specific repair information, and then consumer information, the stuff that they don't know, but you know that they need to know. You know, a car owner, they don't know all the ways that they can get burned. You're talking about people that are potentially dealing with a huge financial loss. I mean, you know, we're totaling cars out all the time. Why is that happening? Why do you need to know why that, you know, looks like a scuff on a fender and a scuff on the wheel? Why is this thing totaled?
Why do cars fall apart, I think, is a big question. Oh, the whole thing fell apart. They made like junk. No, it's made to keep you safe.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, yes, it's supposed to run for 300,000 miles, or until the first accident in many cases, because your injuries are the big issue.
Yeah.
You want to be protected.
You know, if you're a shop that is definitely one that totals out a lot of cars, you know, then here's your opportunity to explain why that's in your benefit. You know?
I think Mark Gavin's catching up to Mid-Island, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think Mark does restorations and totals cars. I don't think he fixes anything.
Yeah, I'm getting a letter on that one. Okay, all right.
So just some examples of what, you know, the kind of content. Actually, let me jump back to a little bit on the website too. So back to our philosophy a little bit. You know, and everybody has their own design philosophy. Everybody has, you know, what they like and all that stuff. But this is what, you know, again, working with behavioral economists and you know, understanding the customer and meeting them where they're at. You know, we like to build calm and serene websites where it's not, you know, like, I'm certified in all these things, and then here's the phone numbers, and here's 18 locations, and
there's
all
like
that stuff.
scrolling
it's
pictures
like, boom,
every
it's like right there. You know, it's like, you know, when we build a website, I always try to, you know, equate it to like going home, you know, to your mom's house for dinner, right? You know, it's like calm and it's peaceful, and you know, you feel safe and you're home, right? Well, no, not my mom. That's a whole nother story, but yeah, you know, it's calm and serene, and you know, it's like so when I go to an example for like Mid-Island, you'll see what I mean by that. But while I'm on the site, I just want to talk about too that it's the way you write the copy. You know, you can talk about your shop by not talking about your shop, but you can talk about your customer, and by saying all these things, you're talking about your shop, right? Here's what you need to know, and here's where the problems lie. But by explaining all that stuff, you can kind of interject that, you know, we do it this way, and this is how we help you, and like that whole customer service thing. You know, here's some things that you're going to deal with, but we can take care of that for you. So it's just a way, it's a nuance on how you write the copy. You know,
right.
So it makes a huge difference. You know, we talked about, you know, here's what you need to know and what you may not know and why that's important to you. So don't just say, you know, you need to know this. Why does that matter to you? Like that should be the very next, you know, sentence. So, you know, and remember too that a lot of people are viewing this on a phone. So I know I talked to a lot of shops that asked me to try to get everything on that above the fold line, and they're afraid, you know, well, they'll never see that at the bottom of the page. But, you know, the reality is we're we're trained to scroll,
People scroll.
guys. Yeah, we scroll, you know, and so websites scroll, and you know, there's some things you can do parallax to kind of trigger that if you're really that concerned about it. So, so then.
Yeah, go back to Tom.
Go back to
don't
this
make
one
the
here?
people in the switcher board get a little too crazy when you go fast and back or whatever.
You good?
But so bottom line, this got asked, what are the two things that you see? And basically website and social media.
Yeah.
And blogging isn't something extra. It's part of the website. It's part of the social media. And reputation management becomes part of the website and part of social media.
Right, yeah. Reputation management is important. You know, you want to be sure that you're responding to these customers so it doesn't look like it's falling on deaf ears, right?
Right. You get a lot of questions.
You're interacting with every customer. Every customer matters to you, good or bad. You need to respond to all that stuff.
Yeah, and don't throw it back on them and say, well, you were a horrible customer and you were, you know.
And Google My Business gives you an opportunity to write content. You can put unique content on there too. You know, you can post daily if you wanted to. So you can actually write blog posts that are on Google My Business. So if you're doing well on maps, or you're trying to, that's a great opportunity to put some of that blog content that goes out to social media, goes out to reputation. So they're kind of like pillars that support ultimately a transaction that's going to happen on the website.
Yep.
So
that's my two picks. I always tell shops, if you just do those two things, you'll be fine.
Right.
And you can do them on your own, or you can pay to have somebody do them, but those two things.
So just, you know, some examples that we have here, just where I was talking about the kind of serene, you know, give yourself some white space. You know, put your titles out there, you know, why you should care about OEM certifications, and explain it in layman's terms, right? Don't use so much shop speak. Explain, what does OEM certification mean? Why do I need to know that? Instead of just saying we're OEM certified and leaving it at that. What does that mean to somebody?
Nothing.
But if you explain what that means to them and why they should care about it and why, you know, you can maintain your warranties and things like that, then that's something that a customer cares about, right?
Yeah.
So
what I love about this is I think there's not a person probably watching that doesn't know the three of us, you know, how we feel about things, or how we talk to other technicians, or how we talk to the OEs sometimes, or adjusters or whatever. But that's not the web presence to the customer.
Right.
So that's us, and that's how we feel about things, and that's the conversations we have within the collision repair industry. But the consumer gets another way of coming in the door, and so that's it's a great thing.
Your safety is our priority.
right,
Yeah.
That's their priority too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we're sold these cars as safe cars. You know, the manufacturers do an awesome job at marketing the technologies that they have, the safety that they have, the convenience features that they have. You know, and so we're as a car owner, we want to get it repaired. We want to make sure it maintains all those things.
Well, how many new car commercials do you see now versus years ago? They don't. At the end, they talk about fuel economy and price. You know what the
safety.
But most of the commercial is what? Safety. They actually show car crashes, people in the cars, and you know a car crash happens, and how safe that car is. 20 years ago, you never heard how safe the car was. It was all the luxury crap that was inside the car, and the radio, and this and that. And this one we didn't even have lane departure stuff or anything like that. No added systems. But this is what they try to have. Now they're actually telling you about a car crash. They want you to believe the car is safe. What's the crash rating on it? You know, they're actually telling you, yeah, the car's getting destroyed. Here, this is how good it is. And that's what they're advertising. Why wouldn't you also, you know, grab that
One
too?
of the things I like about here, content, when we talk about blogging, doesn't mean you're writing a 3-page essay.
No.
Content is short. You've got some visually engaging graphics there. And now I could take that piece of content when we talk about the why should you care about OEM certifications. I could take that piece of content. I could take it to Twitter. I could take it to Instagram. I could take it to Facebook. And I can take it to my website. So I've developed a piece of content that goes out into my two-pronged strategy, and I'm good to go.
Right, and you can even take some specific OEM procedures and talk about why, you know, seam sealers. I mean, you can explain all these nuances, but explain it to a customer why that matters and why the guy down the street doesn't care about it.
Well, how about I go out and find some really great links off somebody else's website and just share it on my website?
Well, you want to write it for your for your market, for your you don't want to just copy and paste, right?
So that's one thing to talk about. So reshares are somewhat penalized. The only person that gets credit for the reshare is the original poster of the content, in a way. So if you have somebody that's been managing your social media and they're sharing a lot of stuff off MSN and CNN and here's what Auto Trader says, and they're constantly sharing other people's stuff on your page and saying, look at all this content we're getting you. Well, it's not original content and you're not getting credit for it. and you wonder why your impressions. We have all these posts, but my impressions are 6. 6 people saw that today.
But now if you took that piece of content.
4 of them were me.
Yeah.
Right, but if you took that and you were to share it and you say, here's why this is important to drivers in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got unique content, but put a little bit of effort into it.
Yep.
Because no one's going to just read that whole article, but if you tell them why they should read that article, they're going to probably read that article, and they're going to remember that, this shop is the one that told me I should pay attention to this.
Just
right?
little tricks.
So, case study time? You wanna talk about case study?
Yeah, let's go over the case study.
Okay.
So this happens all the time, and I know Mark and Larry hear it when they go out and visit shops, but I want to say it's about 2 calls a week that come in from somebody they want to talk about marketing and where it's gone horribly wrong. And I have heard this over and over, so I'm glad you brought this as a case study where a shop just goes, Kristen, I've added it up. I've spent maybe about $6,000, $7,000 last year with all these different things, and I don't think I'm getting anywhere. And you kind of tell them, here's how we're going to fix it or whatever. But walk us through this case study, because I've heard this story so many times.
Okay, so the problem, a lot of marketing stuff, a lot of activity, but lack of focus, lack of process equals no web leads, literally 0 web leads. And this is a shop that has a couple locations. So we started, and it's a DRP shop too. We started working with a shop, who had developed a stack of marketing stuff over time. They had an agency that was posting a bunch of stuff. It started out $199 a month here for this thing, $599 a month there for that SEO thing. But the owner didn't realize, but it started to really add up as a lot of monthly fees that
this
they were
is
spending.
what and probably this shop, same thing. Went to different things in the industry, or went to their state trade association had a meeting and a guest speaker came in and they signed up for that, and 2 months later a guest speaker came in and they signed up for that, and they realize, they look up and go, I got 4 things going on.
Only $199 a month though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no big
times
deal.
4.
So I'll give you a prime example of this one too. So he goes out and he hears Gary Vaynerchuk say, you need to be, putting all your dollars into Facebook. Comes back to me and says, I don't care, run me a Facebook ad campaign. So I ran it for him, but I measured it. And after 2 months of running that campaign, and I showed him, okay, you're getting traffic. Yes, you are getting traffic. But none of these people are converting to leads, and not one of them has made you $1. We spent this because you asked me to. You insisted that I do it. I did it, but I tracked it, and guess what? We're not doing Facebook.
I have this
ads
argument
anymore.
all the time with companies on Facebook. So we're working with the corporations, and they're like, we should have 100,000 fans on our Facebook. But no. Yeah. There's not a single thing in the collision repair industry that I can think of that 100,000 people are going to like it that matter. I mean, so you can have all these impressions, and I can run a post campaign, and I can boost the post on your latest and greatest, clear coat or whatever it is, and that feels good. But those people aren't buying your product, so then what's the point?
Right.
So,
I mean, you can have a lot of fans. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to remember, your content strategy should be about that new person that you're trying to acquire.
At the end of the day, it's all about making money.
Yep.
Right.
If you don't fix cars, you don't make money.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Well, the biggest thing he said there was the fact that he tracked it for 2 months.
Yeah.
All right, you wanted to do it. We tried it for 2 months. Stop the bleeding now.
Stop the bleeding now.
Don't let it go on for 7, 8, 9. Like most people's gym memberships or car wash memberships that go on for years, and it's like, oh, I've been to the car wash 5 times. I've been to the gym twice. Or now I drive by and I wave at Jim. He's now my friend.
Yeah.
When
you forget it's there.
Yeah, you forget it's there with your credit card
statement. Oh, I got to
statement.
call and cancel that.
At
And
least
the phone rings and you
Tom,
forget about
he'll
it.
watch it for you and go, look, not the best use of your money. You're spending $199 a month on Facebook or whatever, social media. It's just not working.
It was like
you made more money.
$800?
It was $800 a month.
Wow.
He said, throw it at it.
Yeah.
Because that's what Gary Vee said to do. Put all your money
Well, you
into
know what,
it.
though? It's not bad to try it.
Yeah,
I'll try it. Let's see. Let's track it. But you know what? You made more money when you paid the $800 to the city buses. You got 20 leads a month from, having it on city buses, driving around the neighborhood. And I didn't think that was a great idea. But compared to this, it was a much better idea.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I got an idea.
Yeah.
Track it.
So their agency was doing the common ineffective social media posts. And the reason they do this is because for $5.99 a month, you're getting some kid right out of college, and he has to bang out a blog post in an hour, because they have all this stuff they got to do. And I've interviewed these people, so I know this for a fact. So what do they write about? They don't know anything about collision repair. They don't have time to research it, study it. So they're writing about how to keep your dog safe in a car on a trip, and prom night, driving tips and all this kind of stuff. So they also clouding their feeds with just reviews that are just a bunch of stars because it's a screenshot of a review tool.
I think the last thing somebody needs right after they get in an accident is some driving tips.
Exactly. Honestly, it's a slap in the face. You know, hey buddy, here's how to do it better next time, right? So yeah,
They should have had a trunk monkey.
Yeah. Another problem too is that this agency delivered Google Analytics reports. They just sent it to them. Here's your analytics. They didn't do any explanations. They didn't spot any trends in it. They didn't do any analysis of it. No interpretation, and more importantly, no plan to move the needle forward in the next month or the next quarter.
I had one of these shops call, and we were looking at his website, and I was like, well, let me send me the analytics and the agency sent him like a screenshot of the analytics. I'm like, no, I want the login. What? I want the login. So it looked like we had a lot of activity, and then when we actually logged in, 90% of that activity was coming from India at 2 in the morning, you know, and all these other countries, and it was a bunch of, you know, black hat, backdoor SEO techniques. But so it looked good because you got this traffic report every month that said, oh, look at all these views and impressions and visits you're getting on your website. But when we dug into it, and the explanation, what you're talking about there, all of it was just fake traffic.
Who's it coming from? What pages are they viewing? You know, instead of just looking at a top line number.
And I've looked at social media sites that people have sent me to, and I'm like, well, how many fans you got? They're like, we have 5,000 fans. And you click the fans, and you start clicking in and going, this guy's in Alaska, this guy's in, you know, whatever,
Mumbai.
this guy's here. And your body shop's in Florida.
Yeah.
So
well, you look at a lot of the body shop stuff. It's all guys in the industry that like each other's pages. What good is that? You know, matter of fact, don't ask me to like your page. I don't want you to like it. You know, I serve the industry, so I need industry people to like my page. I don't need independent customers. You want customers. You don't want every fan that you're friends with on Facebook or some Facebook group, Collision Repair Technicians United, to all like your page. Don't do that. You want keep it lower. Keep it real people in your area.
None of them are bringing their car to your shop.
Yeah, they're not bringing your car to you. You know what I mean?
I looked at one of the companies in the industry had me look at their social media, and I went and looked at it, and I was looking through their activity, and their impression count was low, but the only likes, so the only engagement they ever got on their page, always ended up being the same 3, 4, 5 people. So okay, let's look who those 3, 4, 5 people were. They were the content creators the agency had on that account.
Yeah.
Who were on those. I'm like, okay, well, see, we're getting nowhere.
Yeah, right.
You're not really moving it the needle anywhere farther.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom, take it away because they want to know how we're going to track leads.
Okay,
and
and despite producing marketing activity, they didn't get a single online lead a month, right? They had bad reviews that weren't being addressed, and their most state-of-the-art, their newest shop where they had dumped all their money on brand new equipment and everything, well, they didn't even claim the Google My Business page. Their agency didn't even claim the Google My Business page, which is mind-boggling. Yeah, why are you paying them? They're
and a lot of money.
It's like paying your accountant not to send you taxes.
Yeah, they were paying these guys good money. So, you know, the website traffic was flat, 200, 300 visits a month, and they had no lead intake process, no follow-up, no post-sale tracking
I'd be happy
system.
with 200, 300 visits a month.
If they were buying.
I get like 9, and most of them are from me, from my other account.
No, you get 9, and 8 of them are people that are really mad at you.
Yes.
So, all right.
So, do you want to talk about this question that came in, or?
Well, I think we're going to get there.
I'd say cover at the end.
Yeah,
we'll cover that one at the end. We're going to hold on to the leads.
I have a good solution for that. So, so then, what was our solution? So, you know, first of all, hit the stop button, pull the plug on all these services. You know, they let their agency go. We reminded the client that the goal was visits, leads, and sales, not, you know, buying marketing activity, not buying, you know, posts on Facebook about prom driving tips, right? We installed and set up some web tracking software, which I'll get to that in a second, and I'll answer that question. We built and installed call to action buttons on every page, and we started developing content relevant to their customers' questions, needs, fears, and desires. We worked with our behavioral economist to tweak the language of the site and even the placement. You know, she said, move this up here, move this around, so we did all that. We monitored the traffic, tied leads back to the actual sales through CCC. That's what I always do. And I actually do this because I want to see this stuff. So I went through the CCC, pulled all the leads out, and tracked it back to the dollars. Actually sat in the shop with the owner and did it with them so that he could see it.
You're a nice guy, but you're kind of a nerd too.
Kind of a nerd.
Yeah.
With the data and the money, I want to know, right? Because it guides my strategy.
Right.
I want to know this stuff, right? So we A/B tested some content, A/B tested some pages, the buttons, colors, things like that. But ultimately what we did was we made the website as efficient as possible. We streamlined the buyer's journey, right? So how do I get what I need? How do I move somebody through the site as efficiently as possible? So So where are they right now? So traffic increases steadily month over month. Traffic is up 127% from September to December. We started in September with these changes. They average about 30 web leads a month. Right now they're closing about 20 of the 30 a month. Their average repair, I took a look, is 2,334.
We really want to go meet with them on that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
That could improve too.
Yeah. And so they're averaging from web leads about 46,680 a month.
That's
what it comes up to.
46,000 in gross revenue coming through the door because you took the time and attention to change your website strategy.
And 52% of that is nights and weekends.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Now here's what I like. So drive that down. So now we know we're closing 20 of those leads. It's giving me $46,000 more in gross. But of the closed sales, so this is what I like by the way you're tracking it through the website. So when we talk about lead tracking, the customer comes in and gives us information in that digital source. So they're giving us that information on the website. Now I know when they come in and schedule their appointment because we generate an RO that generates an estimate with that. So now I have a name, I know the day that they came in, I know the day that they got their estimate written, and if that RO closes, I know it's a closed sale, right? So then you can go back and track that customer, and this is interesting. How many pages?
So I just grabbed some information. I could keep drilling down. This is what I like to do, but you know the average closed sale. And remember, this is the DRP shop.
Right.
Read 6.3 pages, 6.03 pages.
So
right?
that shop that probably believed that they were getting this work because it was a DRP. Really, this customer came in and clicked through 6 pages before they came in and got the repair done.
They checked them out.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even track what they may have done on the competitors' sites, right? Because they're not getting just one name; they're getting a couple names, right? So and as they even search this stuff, it's other competitors are popping up. That's very easy to click.
So
and
when we
look
talk
at.
about actionable web analytics, what you can do is go back with this and go, of the people that closed, here are the web pages they visited by make and model that we repaired. So I know Honda guys visited these pages, and I know Toyota guys visited these pages.
I can tell you how many pages, when they come back, what times they come back, how many times they hit the site. I'm looking for patterns, because if there's a pattern, if there's a rhythm to your site, either, if maybe we want to get that down to 4 pages or 3 pages, or maybe it takes 6 pages to generate a lead. So what are those pages? What are the patterns? Maybe we link them or something. I mean, that's what you, that's how, when you're really getting that kind of information, you're really understanding your customer at that level. So, and then we also found out the average vehicle year. I was just curious to see, it was a 2012 model, right? So, so that kind of gives you an idea, a little bit of a snapshot of what the customers that are spending the money with you, what does that look like, right?
Right, because I think another misconception we have in the industry is we think that only the customers with the brand new cars care, and the customer that's got a car and it's older and it's out of warranty, well, they don't matter.
One of them was a 1997 model, and they spent, I mean, it wasn't a lot of money, but they spent $900 to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And
that may be all I can afford.
The guy that drives the older car and spends $900 someday may buy a new car.
Right.
And come back and
Yeah.
whatever. So when we talk about tracking sales leads, that's how we do it in digital, because there is no, I don't know what the best way to put it is, but there's no lying in that case on where those numbers come from. You can poll customers when they come in your door. There's a lot of shops that do that. They have it as part of their vehicle check-in process. How'd you hear about us and what brought you here today? Quite frankly, don't put a whole lot of your needs and wants in the way of the customer getting in and getting out or whatever. You can do focus groups, you can do year-end polls, you can do some surveys, you can try to figure out how people got to you to track your leads, but ultimately lead tracking is a web-generated type system.
Right.
So that's where you're trying to find out where people came from.
Right.
I hear a lot of people that'll say, oh, they came to me because you were on XYZ's insurance program. Well, not really. They happened to hear several names. You weren't the only name that was mentioned by the adjuster. They chose you for a reason, and we got to find that reason. And it wasn't because you were on that program. So,
so here's just a snapshot of that. So just kind of show you the gray area on the bottom is where they were. I was tracking their traffic prior to us working with them. The red line shows what we did in 4 months. So traffic up 127%. And the reason it says no data from year before was because they were not getting any web leads. There's nothing to compare it to. So, but 120 new contacts in 4 months. So 120 leads in 4 months. So, so that's the numbers there. So the big picture. Do you want to take that one? Or?
So here's the way I like to put this, because this is, if you didn't do anything else, if this is all you were doing, what's this gonna go? And this is why I tell people website and social media, don't worry about anything else. If you get a nice foundation, we'll worry about some other things. But so if we want to get them to 30 to 40 leads a month, that's a pretty good average. Hopefully you blow it out of the park and your website starts generating more than that. But if you're doing 20 something now, 30 to 40 is a good average a month leads that only your digital marketing strategy is going to lead for you. If we get their closing ratio to 70%, which they're they're close,
in your office, yeah.
right? We think if you're in my shop, if an estimator's closing less than 95, we want to fire them. So if I can close 70% from online, that's a pretty good closing ratio. All right, that brings me to $65,300 of new gross revenue through my door that has come in passively in a way. It came in through the website. I didn't have to go out and grab the customer. I didn't have to put them in a headlock and drag them in. They came in this way. That's going to yield me another $784,000 of gross in 2019. So if we keep 10% of that,
that's a new
right?
boat.
That's a
boat.
That's Larry gets a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Frame machine, more training for your technicians. There's so many things that does. And what we do is we call this passive foundation growth, meaning there are some active things. If you take an estimating class with me and Larry and you're going to implement our system for green printing or whatever, that's very active. There's some pain there. There's going to be some pushback from your techs and your estimators and whatever. That's a huge culture change within your facility. So that's active growth, right? And if we can add $400 or $500 to your estimates, it sounds great. But you're going to put some hard work and some sweat in there to get there. But this is just passive foundation growth. By just changing your marketing strategy, you passively add $784,000 worth of
Well, and then on top of that, though, you already paid rent with the other sales you were doing anyway.
Right.
So now this becomes what we call your excess capacity, where you can actually make a higher net on this just because you're playing with additional sales you didn't have before.
Yeah, and what this gives you is it's just breathing room for a shop. It makes you go, I can breathe a little bit easier. So now I can start thinking, because I have a good, strong revenue program, I can start thinking about doing more, maybe the active changes. I can also start thinking about replacing future lost revenue. You're going to lose a client. It happens. It happens to me all the time, right? So it happens to everybody. You're going to lose an insurer if you're on a DRP program. You may lose an OE or whatever. They may change their requirements and they may go to dealer sponsor or whatever. So all these things that you think are supporting and growing your business now may disappear. And so if you're actively working on replacing that revenue and having that growth, you don't want to be the guy that, I think of a shop out in California this year that walked in and it was 60% of their business. That one insurer was 60% of their business, and it was devastating. That's they probably won't survive.
It's death, yeah.
So you don't want to be that person, and you're not going to know it's coming. No one's going to give you a heads up, and because corporate.
They don't give you a 90-day.
Corporate waits to tell those people same day, hey, I need you to go to the shop today. What?
Here's the letter you need to deliver.
And you're standing there going, well, we had a fishing trip planned. Those things that work. So this is just great. This is your foundation. There's a lot of things you can do, folks. You can have cookie programs to agents. You can sponsor some sort of community event. You can have radio, TV. You can have print. For the love of God, why you would have print, I don't know. But you can have all of these things, and it doesn't necessarily make you money. You're not tracking it. You feel good about it because you see yourself. You see your ads, or you hear your ads, or you think because somebody comes in your shop and said, I heard your radio ad. They heard it, but that's really not why they decided to come do business with you.
It's vanity marketing. It's not.
Yeah, it's feel good. I feel good because I was at a meeting 2 weeks ago with a company, and we were talking about they spend a lot of money on print advertising across the industry. And I was talking to the guy about it, and of course I'm trying to talk him out of it, right? Because I want him to make videos and do some other things. And he's, he basically goes, print advertising is like when my wife tells me I'm sexy. I know I'm not getting anywhere, but it still feels good that she says it. Yeah. And I'm like, that's the best analogy of print advertising I've ever heard in my life. But we feel good because we see ourselves. And if you think about it, that's how a lot of advertising gets sold. Hey, your competitor's in the magazine this month. Don't you want to be there too? But there's a lot of things you can do. Once you have a foundation, if your website and your social is good to go and it's cooking along and you're bringing in all of this passive foundational growth, now let's think about TV. Right. Now let's think about radio. But we're going to do what, Tom?
We're going to measure it. We're going to track it and we're going to measure it. Yep. So same shop, they had an open house for employment, and a TV guy happened to stop in the shop and at the right time and said, we've got some excess inventory. So they're great. Let's do an ad. So the shop had me track it, and guess what? Nobody came from that television ad.
Zero.
We couldn't prove it. That the traffic did not spike during the times that program aired, and they had very low attendance at that job fair.
Yeah.
But actually, what's helps them get technicians and get people submitting applications is some digital marketing that we're doing for them. We actually have an employment section where you can go online on our website. We drive traffic to that, and they get applications all the time for jobs. So, tracking even using your digital marketing to attract customers, especially doing content marketing, that kind of educational marketing. Who you want to work for? The guy that's on the ball, right? That's explaining all this stuff in a way that I can understand. That seems like a friendly company that I want to go work for. So it can be used as a recruiting tool too.
Yeah. So when it comes to cheapness, obviously, I'm working up to be able to afford Tom one day.
Yeah.
So
how many GoFundMes do we have going?
Yeah.
AC, Tom.
Yeah. I gotta
Parking
check
lot.
with them. Oh, I need the parking lot.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. I gotta see how that one's going. There are free things that a shop can do, right? You can do your own website in a way. You can do your own blogging. You can control your own social media. You can look for community engagement opportunities, and I tell shops, get out of your bubble a lot. Find another business in town that you can partner with that's not a competitor, and you guys can work to kind of cross-feed each other. We did this thing one time called Friday Night Lights for football, and we would go to the high school stadium that night, and we'd watch them park cars, and the guy that came in that had the one headlight out, well, he won Friday Night Lights, and he got to come by the shop and get a new headlight. And so we got a lot of attention out of that. And we've done the pet safety marketing campaigns and partnered up with PetSmart and some other places in town. You get some things out of that.
Community.
Low community cost, but there's high work, right? There's not a whole lot of money involved, but there's a lot of physical work and time and commitment in those. So there are a lot of things that a shop can do, but the bottom line is you got to do something. And it really doesn't behoove you to just start giving chunks of money to these people that are coming around right now and telling you they can solve all your problems for $1.99 a month.
Yeah.
I got one for $19.95.
Yeah. You got who?
Somebody sent me an email saying $19.95. I'll move you to the top.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't talk about a lot that's really wrong is, so we talked a little bit about software companies and people telling you they can do your reputation management. Those same software companies have you convinced that they're also handling your social media for you because we're feeding your reviews to your Facebook page.
You're getting content. Yeah.
And it's death.
Yeah.
It's absolute death of
It's
your
just
Facebook page.
it's just a blur of screenshots of stars, and but they're not capturing what is that person saying about the shop. What was their experience like? What were their concerns that were addressed? You're not seeing that stuff.
No.
You're just seeing a bunch of stars.
What was that one we were looking at yesterday with that one Facebook page had like 40 reviews.
It was just reviews.
Just reviews. There's no content.
Reviews.
I've got a lot of shops that have gone to that they've believed the software company has told them, no, we're going to push your 4- and 5-star reviews to your Facebook page, and that's reputation management, and that's going to help you get new customers. And shops believe it, and they're like, oh, that's great. Yes, customers want to see reviews. They want to know a customer's experience. It's the same with hotels, right? You want to see other customers' reviews, but think about it. If you only went to Travelocity or Hotels.com or whatever, and all you could see was people's reviews, and you didn't get to see the inside of the hotel and what the pool looks like and what the restaurant looks like, if you didn't get to see any of that other stuff, would you stay there? The answer is probably no. Well, then why in the hell are you only servicing up your stupid reviews that are 4 and 5 stars on your Facebook page?
And Facebook has a review feature too, right?
Yeah.
So you got this review, and then you got all these things, and they don't add up, and you're like, well, what's that all about, right?
Yeah. No, there's no one that can just take over that stuff, and I'm just going to feed reviews and you're fine, or we're just going to push content nationally to you or whatever. That's that bullshit. It sounds good because it talks you into buying the service, and you pay another $30 a month to have this, and you feel good about it, or they tell you that, no, not only are we going to push this to your Facebook page, but we're going to increase your ranking on Google or whatever. Cool, but if it doesn't transfer into actual closed sales leads and cars at my door, then none of that matters. I was spinning my wheels for nothing.
Right.
So, and if you truly believe word of mouth advertising gets you business, then why the hell are you doing that anyway?
Yeah.
Wasn't your word of mouth working?
Right.
I'm a joy at the industry events to sit next to after your presentation. So, but no, it's just it's $1.99, it's $2.99, it's $3.99, and every other guru right now is either at an industry event speaking, or being brought in as a keynote speaker somewhere else, or being served up in a trade magazine, and it's confusing. Shops are like, do I do SEO? Do I do AdWords? Do I do radio? Do I do print?
And they just don't know. They're not experts.
Right.
No, they want to make money. Bottom line is you want to make money. Two things.
Well, shops aren't experts certainly at this stuff either.
Yeah.
And some shops do have a marketing person, right?
Yeah.
So train them on this. Say instead of writing about that stuff, start writing about this. This car's in the shop right now. We're dealing with this problem. The customer is having an issue, let's explain that. You know, let's talk about that in a way that the next customer might need to know.
And don't be part of the noise. I've had a lot of shops lately that have gotten caught up in a thing where they think that I'm going to go Facebook Live and I'm going to talk about all that's going on in the collision repair industry. No, just no.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it everywhere, all over the country right now, multiple shops. I don't know how that trade or whatever. Content needs to drive a sale. Noise will drive more people away than it will drive a sale. You'll feel good about it because you'll have, I mean, if Larry and I come to your Facebook page and like what you're doing and comment, we don't matter. We're never going to buy a collision repair from you. So what we think or what another technician at a shop in 5 states away thinks or whatever, none of that matters because it's not going to drive sales. So make sure that your traffic matters and that your content closes money. Larry wants a motorcycle.
Yep.
So
another one.
Another one.
He needs one for every day of the week.
Yeah, cool.
So that'll rock.
So we want to answer the software question that somebody had. There was a question
Oh,
about
the
software. Yeah. So we use a software. It's called Hubspot, and I'm not here to promote Hubspot at all, but they've actually reduced their price for their most basic model, which is it's $50 a month, but you have to pay for it all up front. It's $600. So, but that's what we use. And the beauty of it is when you set up. So we build all our sites on WordPress, but we build out all the lead gen tools and everything in Facebook in HubSpot, so I can track that. I can also track all the Facebook things like that too that come to the site. But and then I'll export those leads, but it tracks. Once somebody converts and becomes an email address, not an IP address, then I can see everything that they've done online with regards to that website. So that's what we use. We use HubSpot, and you know there are other tracking tools out there, and you can use Google Analytics free. You just and they'll teach you how to use it. Google has free classes. You know, you just got to spend the time but figure out. Think about what do I need to close sales? How do I track that sale? You know, using, like I said, we use all that. We'll go into the estimating system and track that lead to a sale. We want to make sure it closed, or if they keep getting dropped, even. You know, we've identified sales problems with certain estimators that way too.
Yeah, and these websites aren't massive, expensive things. You know, for under 5,000, you can have a website that does everything that you need it to do.
Yeah, you could use Squarespace even. Build a site on Squarespace. You know, and you know, but it just again, it's about being able to track the work you put into it. Yeah, the work you put into it, being able to track it, and then see if this is working for you in your market, or tweak it, or experiment with it. You know, and if you're tracking that stuff, you'll find the right thing for your shop.
All right, so I can't afford you, so I don't need to get a hold of you. But if anybody else wants to get a hold of you, Tom, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so Stratosphere Studio is the name of my company. We're in just outside of Baltimore. It's my email address, tom@stratospherestudio.com, not studios, but studio.com. And my cell phone, if you want to reach out to me, 410-459-7022. That'll go right to me.
That's perfect. And no, Larry, not now. You can't call him now. That's your van,
that's
though, right?
Van,
that's your restoration van.
Yeah, I restored that. That's our mascot, if you will.
Yeah, it's your mobile billboard.
Yeah. 1965.
Well, if you're going to deliver customers, right, you need a delivery van. So that's why I went with that. So,
I like it. Yeah. That's awesome. Hey, can we just say that I think the first thing when a company tells me how awesome they are at marketing, and I go to their page and it's all stock photos, I'm like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's an overhead view of people on a computer with some cups of coffee on a wood desk.
And a well-diversified male-female racial balance of people around a conference table looking like they're meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
So,
pointing at a whiteboard.
Yeah. So at least that's one thing. If you want to know how you can tell whether somebody's good at what they do, if everything they have that's about them is stock footage, then it's probably not. That's a good sign to walk away from that agency or whatever. And keep looking somewhere. So, all right. Well, if you have questions, that's Repair You Live for this month. You can hit Tom. You can hit us here at Repair University. We will be back next month. Fair warning: OE is not live and will not be a live show in 2019. But we will be airing the OE show next month. It is on Toyota Camry.
Next week.
Next week. Yeah, that's right.
Not next month.
Next month. Next week will be Toyota Camry. And so that's the change for the OE show this year. Instead of just talking about an OE in general, we're going to dive into a specific make model. and then talk through our process. Obviously, it would be a 5-hour show if we did every car start to finish. We're going to talk through our process of how we approach a car and use the OE data and what's new with that OE and what needs to be fixed. So that'll be next week, Toyota Camry. So if you're fixing Camrys, tune in. If you're not fixing Camrys, tune in anyway. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Okay.